What if true strength doesn't come from controlling more, but from letting go? In a world that rewards noise, speed, and endless striving, we often find ourselves running on empty, chasing expectations, clinging to roles, and forgetting who we truly are. But what if you paused, just for a moment? What if you questioned the silent burdens you've been carrying? This video isn't about quick fixes. It's about returning to simplicity, to clarity, to your own inner compass. Through timeless Stoic principles, we'll journey together into the art of letting go, mastering emotion, and discovering a quiet kind of freedom, one that doesn't need to shout. Because the most powerful transformation often begins not with adding more, but with removing what no longer serves you. Are you ready to come home to yourself? Let's begin. Mastering the mind, the journey into the eye of the storm. Have you ever felt like a leaf caught in a whirlwind? Every criticism shakes you. Every unanswered message leaves you anxious. One small mistake is enough to spiral you into self-blame, doubt, and fear. But have you ever paused to ask, is this storm truly coming from outside? Or is it rising from within you? I used to believe I was a victim of the world, that others were the cause of my pain, that circumstances led me to failure, that I had no choice but to react. Until I came across a quote by Epictetus: "If someone provokes you, be aware that your mind is complicit in your anger." That sentence struck me like a bell. I realized no one could truly control my emotions unless I handed them the key. And from that moment, I began learning to take back the wheel, not by suppressing my emotions, but by observing them. When someone makes you angry, when something disappoints you, instead of reacting immediately, pause. Take a deep breath and ask yourself, did they truly hurt me? Or was it my thoughts about them that caused the pain? Was it truly injustice? Or was it the invisible expectation that brought my suffering? When you change how you see, you change how you feel. And when you master how you feel, you're no longer a victim. You become the captain of your own ship. Imagine holding a burning coal in your hand. You're angry. You're in pain. But you think, if I hold on to this long enough, someone else will get hurt. You know what happens. You're the one who gets burned first. Anger is like that. Fear is like that. Unchecked emotions become chains that bind you. So starting today, practice one simple but powerful act. When emotions arise, don't react. Step back, breathe, and tell yourself, I am observing this emotion, but I am not it. Write down the emotions that pulled you around today. See them like clouds passing across the sky. Don't judge, don't resist. Just notice and let them pass, because you are not the clouds. You are the sky behind all of them. That is the beginning of inner freedom, of peace not dependent on the world, of courage that doesn't come from shouting, but from presence in every moment. And if you truly want to change your life, don't start by changing the world. Start by observing your own mind. Because when you master the mind, no one and nothing can bring you down again. Accepting reality, the courage to let go of what you can't control. We grow up believing that if we try hard enough, everything will be within our grasp. We make plans, control every step, and hope everything goes as expected. But then something happens. Someone you trusted walks away. A project you poured your heart into falls apart. An unexpected storm washes away your hopes. You get angry, confused, even broken, because you thought, I did everything right. This shouldn't have happened. But Stoicism teaches something different. Happiness doesn't come from controlling life. It comes from controlling your response to it. Epictetus once said, don't seek for things to happen as you wish. Seek for them to happen as they do, and you will find peace. Sounds contradictory, doesn't it? We're taught to dream, to strive, to fight, and now we're told to accept. But understand this, Acceptance is not giving up. Acceptance is the act of awakening. It is the choice of the strong. It is realizing that some things are beyond your reach. What others say, how things turn out, the weather, luck. You can prepare well, but not control the outcome. You can live kindly, but not force others to love you. You can plant seeds, but you can't command the harvest. So why let your peace depend on the unpredictable? Think back to all the times you were upset because someone didn't act the way you expected, or the sleepless nights because life didn't follow your internal script. Can you see it? It wasn't reality that hurt you. It was your expectation of it. Today, try this simple practice. Divide everything into two categories: what you can control, your actions, your choices, your responses. What you can't control, other people's thoughts, final outcomes, the past, the future. Whenever your mind gets caught in the second category, remind yourself, this is not my responsibility. Then return to the first, the only place where your power truly lies. That is the act of a mature soul, of someone brave enough to let go of what doesn't belong to them, and devoted enough to nurture what they can do well. Marcus Aurelius once compared life to a flowing river. You can't hold water in your hand, but you can learn to swim in the current. You can learn to balance, even in the waves. Can you accept what is, even if it goes against your plan? Can you say with courage, I do not control the world, but I will control myself? If yes, then you've laid the first stone on the path of mindfulness, on the journey of emotional maturity, on the foundation of a strength nothing can shake. Invisible chains, how we lock ourselves in. Have you ever felt trapped? Not in a room, not in a prison, but in your own life. You go to work, smile, reply to messages, but deep down, there's a weight you can't name, as if invisible strings are binding your breath, your dreams. You can't name these chains, but you feel their pull. You want to try something new, but stop. I'm not good enough. You want to leave a toxic relationship, but say, maybe it's okay. You want to change your lifestyle, but convince yourself it's too late. Do you see? No one is stopping you. No one is holding you back. You're the one locking yourself in with old thoughts. Marcus Aurelius once wrote, "We love ourselves more than anyone else, but we care more about others' opinions than our own thoughts. We say we want freedom, but we're afraid of judgment, afraid to do things differently because of the outside gaze, afraid to be ourselves because of criticism. So we wear clothes tailored to others' expectations. We chain ourselves with beliefs like, I must be accepted, I must never fail, I must never show weakness." But Stoicism teaches this. True freedom begins from within, and the first thing you must liberate is your own mind. Try this. Write down 3 things that have made you feel tied down recently. Don't try to fix them yet. Just ask, is this a chain I've locked around myself? You'll see, most limits don't come from reality. They come from how you think. No one stops you from stepping out of your comfort zone. Only you thinking that you can't. And once you see that clearly, for the first time, you'll realize you've had the key in your hand all along. Use it, not to break the door and run, but to unlock what has been quietly caging you for years. Freedom isn't about how much time you have, or how much money, or how many people agree with you. Freedom comes the moment you cross the smallest threshold, the one in your own mind. Serenity in praise and criticism. Imagine yourself walking through a bustling marketplace. Vendors on either side call out to you some praise your refined taste. Others criticize your choices. If you reacted to every compliment or insult, you'd be exhausted before leaving the market. But if you simply smile and keep walking, no one can truly disturb your peace. Life is the same. Each day, we walk through a world full of opinions, judgments, and commentary. One day you're celebrated, the next you're criticized. If you care about every word of praise or blame, you'll be caught in a whirlwind of emotional instability and insecurity. The wise remain unaffected, not because they are cold, but because they understand that self-worth does not reside in others' eyes. They do not seek approval, nor do they fear rejection. I used to be someone who lived on validation. Every compliment lifted me up, but also made me dependent. Every criticism crushed me, triggering doubt and long-lasting anxiety. Until one day, I read these words by Epictetus: "If someone speaks ill of you, do not defend yourself. Instead, say, 'He clearly doesn't know all my faults. If he did, he'd have much more to say.'" That quote awakened me from the illusion I had lived in. I realized the one who praises me today might turn away tomorrow. The one who criticizes me today may not even understand what I carry inside. So why let them define who I am? From then on, I began to practice stillness. When someone praised me, I acknowledged it quietly, but didn't let it swell my ego. When I was criticized, I didn't resist. Instead, I gently asked myself, is there something true in their words I can learn from? Inner freedom doesn't come from being liked. It comes from not being ruled by the judgment of others. Serenity in praise and criticism isn't indifference. It's deep understanding of the world's nature and of one's unshakable core. Try living one day without seeking praise, without fearing criticism. Just live according to what you know is right. At the end of that day, you'll feel lighter, calmer, because in the end, you don't live to please the crowd, but to be true to yourself. Letting go of the need to be right. You're standing on the deck of a ship at sea. The sky is clear, the water's calm. Everything feels peaceful. Suddenly, someone approaches and insists, "The sky today is purple." You glance up, it's still blue. A strange irritation rises in you. You want to argue, to prove them wrong. But then you ask yourself, if I argue, will the sky change color? Will one actually feel better? The truth is, many arguments in life don't stem from the pursuit of truth, but from a deeper fear, the fear of being wrong. Our ego fears injury, fears losing credibility, fears being seen as less than. And from that fear, we enter endless battles, fighting to be right, even at the cost of our peace of mind. I used to be that kind of person. Every time someone disagreed with me, I'd snap into debate mode. I had to win. I needed to be seen as knowledgeable. But I began to realize, even when I won an argument, I lost something greater: my calm. My relationships frayed. Joy vanished. Peace became a luxury. One day, I read a metaphor from a wise teacher. Anger in an argument is like holding a hot coal. To throw at someone, you're the first to get burned. And I understood, the need to be right is often a form of self-inflicted suffering. So what do we do? Should we stay silent in the face of untruth? No. Letting go of the need to be right doesn't mean giving up on truth. It means this: we stop using right and wrong to define our worth. We choose to respond with calm rather than react out of ego. Try this. When misunderstood, don't rush to explain. When challenged, simply smile and listen. When someone argues fiercely, choose stillness. In that moment, you're not losing. You're winning not over others, but over yourself. The world doesn't need you to be right all the time, but you do need inner peace to live a meaningful life. And the irony is, when you no longer need to be right, you begin to see more clearly. You listen more deeply, you understand more, and you truly grow. Expect less. There's an old story about a beggar who always sat by the roadside with an empty wooden bowl. One day, a passerby asked him, "Do you expect anything?" The beggar shook his head and smiled. "It's because I expect nothing, that I am always grateful for anything that comes." We live in a world that revolves around expectations, expecting others to understand us, expecting work to go smoothly, expecting our partner not to hurt us, expecting ourselves to always be strong, steady, flawless. But these expectations, when unmet, quietly turn into disappointment. Then disappointment into anger, anger into sadness, and finally, a slow erosion of trust in life itself. Marcus Aurelius once wrote, "We suffer not because of what happens, but because of the way we expect things to happen." Ask yourself, how many times have you felt hurt simply because someone didn't behave as you expected? How many times were you disappointed because events didn't follow your plan? How many times were you angry, not because of something real, but because you believed it shouldn't be this way? In truth, life never promised to follow your script. You may work hard, but success isn't guaranteed. You may love sincerely, but there's no promise they won't walk away. You may live kindly, yet still be misunderstood or betrayed. So instead of living in the trap of expectation, why not learn to release those invisible demands and live with an open heart? Expecting less isn't giving up. It's a conscious choice to live simply, lightly, and with more steadiness. Try living one day without expectations. Don't expect others to understand. Don't expect the weather to be perfect. Don't expect everything to go your way. And then observe the miracle. Whatever you receive, no matter how small, you'll feel genuine gratitude. And that gratitude is the foundation of deep peace. Seneca once said, "The rich man is not the one who has much, but the one who needs little." You don't have to give up on your dreams, but let go of the belief that life must respond the way you want. When you expect less, you feel more fulfilled, not because life changed, but because your mind opened wider. And after learning to expect less, you'll come to understand another essential truth: to live a light, authentic life. Sometimes you must find the courage to say one very simple word, one that many fear: no. Learning to say no for years. I believed I was a good person because I always said yes. Yes to favors. Yes to the expectations others placed on me. And yes, even when my heart was screaming, I don't want to. I was afraid of disappointing others. Afraid of being judged as selfish. Afraid that if I said no, I'd be left behind. So I kept saying yes, over and over, until one day, I no longer recognized myself. Have you ever felt that way? That you're living someone else's life? That you're nodding to things that no longer align with your heart? Epictetus once said, "Freedom is not achieved by doing everything, but by knowing what to do and what to decline." We often fear rejecting others, not realizing this truth. Every time you say yes to something that doesn't really matter, you are saying no to yourself. Every time you agree out of obligation, you are trading your inner freedom for temporary approval. So how do you learn to say no without feeling guilty? First, understand this. Saying no is not rejecting others, it's agreeing with your own core values. Saying no is not selfish. It's preserving your clarity and energy for what truly matters. Imagine you're standing before an enormous banquet table filled with tempting dishes. If you don't know your limits, you'll eat until you're exhausted. Life is the same. Invitations, expectations, opportunities, they come endlessly. If you don't know how to say no, you will lose your focus, lose your presence, and eventually lose yourself. Practicing no doesn't require grand gestures. Start small. Say no to a meeting you don't really need to attend. Say no to a proposal that doesn't sit right with you. Say no to the habit of pleasing others at the expense of your own feelings. The first time will be hard. You'll feel guilty. You'll worry about making others unhappy. But eventually, you'll see those who truly respect you will understand, and those who don't never truly valued you to begin with. Seneca once said, "Time is the most precious thing a person can spend, So why waste it living by someone else's expectations? When you dare to say no, you're doing something incredibly brave. You are choosing yourself. You are choosing presence. You are choosing a life that is simple, clear, and intentional. Embracing hardship to grow, we instinctively avoid pain. When life gets hard, we want to escape. When rejected, hurt, or defeated, we want to run. We seek comfort, ease, the smooth path with few obstacles. But in that very ease, we begin to soften. Our inner strength is left untrained. Our mind goes unsharpened. Our will remains untested. Epictetus once said, "No one becomes strong by avoiding suffering." It is adversity that shapes a person of true value. Hardship is not a sign of misfortune, it's life's invitation. A call to step beyond comfort and grow into who we're meant to be. I remember a long stretch in my life when I avoided anything that made me uncomfortable. I didn't dare start an important project for fear of failure. Didn't speak my truth for fear of offending someone. Didn't face my inner pain for fear of being consumed by it. But the more I avoided, the more drained I became, until I realized it wasn't the hardship that exhausted me, it was my resistance to it. And when I started to shift my perspective, everything changed. I stopped asking, "Why is this happening to me?" and started asking, "What is this trying to teach me?" That was when I began to grow. Marcus Aurelius once compared life to a training ground. We are not here to live in comfort. We are here to grow strong, grounded, and resilient through hardships we didn't choose, but were born to overcome. So how can we cultivate the ability to embrace difficulty? First, change your inner dialogue. Don't call it a problem, call it a lesson. Don't ask, "Why am I so unlucky?" Ask, "What opportunity is here for me to grow?" Next, expose yourself intentionally to minor discomforts every day. Set your alarm 30 minutes earlier. Exercise, even in the cold. Say thank you to someone who once hurt you, not because they deserve it, but because you deserve freedom from anger. When you walk through what is unpleasant, you become tougher, not because you're immune to pain, but because you've learned to move through it without breaking. Seneca said, "A person who has not been tested has never discovered how strong they really are." And you are stronger than you think, more resilient than you believe. But you'll only find that out when you dare to enter the storm instead of running from it. And when you do, when you walk through hardship with open eyes, something deep inside you changes. You're no longer someone who flees from pain. You become someone who learns from it, reflecting on death. To learn how to live, we live as if we will never die. We postpone what matters because it's not time yet. We delay love, forgiveness, dreams, even living true to ourselves, because we believe tomorrow will always be there. But one truth spares no one: death. Stoicism doesn't teach us to avoid death. On the contrary, it teaches us to look it in the eye, face it, and learn how to live from it. Marcus Aurelius wrote, "You could leave life right now. Let that determine what you do, say, and think." Imagine this. If you knew today was your last day, would you live differently? Would you still care about petty arguments and meaningless criticism? Would you still postpone that call to someone you love? Or would you simply pause, look deeply into someone's eyes, and say, "Thank you for being in my life"? Here's the paradox. Only when we remember that we will die do we truly begin to live. When I was younger, I saw death as something far away. But after a life-changing experience when I almost lost someone dear, I began to see life differently. I no longer took existence for granted. Every morning I woke up and asked, if today were my last, how would I live? And everything changed. I spoke truths I had long buried. I paused to watch the light through the trees. I stopped needing to win every argument, because nothing is more precious than peace. Stoics call this philosophy memento mori, remember, You will die, not to frighten us, but to awaken us, not to make us pessimistic, but to make us live deeply, fully, in every single moment. You don't have to wait for illness, loss, or grief to learn how to truly live. You can begin today. Try a simple Stoic exercise. Each night before bed, ask yourself, if this were my last night, would I regret anything? If yes, act on it tomorrow. If no, you're living true to your heart. Reflecting on death doesn't make you weak. It makes you brave. Because when you no longer fear the end, you no longer fear the beginning. No longer fear change. No longer fear love, even knowing one day you'll have to let go. Remember, a conscious life is one that wastes not a single breath. When you live knowing everything can end at any moment, you no longer let the trivial invade your mind. You only hold on to what truly matters. Letting go to find peace. We often believe that peace is something to be sought after, something to be earned through endless effort, through victory, control, and possession. But the more we try to control, the more we exhaust ourselves. The more we try to keep everything as we wish, the more our hearts grow restless. Peace doesn't come from holding on to everything. Peace comes when you dare to let go. Stoicism teaches us this. You cannot control the world, but you can control your own mind. And sometimes, the greatest strength does not lie in holding on, but in knowing when to release. Have you ever clung to a relationship just because you feared loneliness? Tried so hard to earn someone's approval, even though it drained you? Held on to a perfect image of yourself until every small mistake became a burden too heavy to bear? I've been there too. Until I realized what caused me pain wasn't the truth itself, but my resistance to it. Letting go is not failure. Letting go is freedom. It is when you stop letting misguided expectations, outdated definitions, or hidden fears dictate your path. Marcus Aurelius wrote, "Peace comes from within. Do not seek it without." So how do we practice letting go? First, observe what is holding on to you. It might be an unprocessed emotion, a long-rooted belief, or an expectation you no longer even believe in. Then ask yourself, if I let this go, what do I lose? And what might I gain? You'll begin to see that most things you hold on to no longer serve your journey. A Stoic practice I deeply love. Imagine you're crossing a river, carrying a heavy bag of stones on your back. You can keep walking, but it's slow, painful, exhausting. You can choose, keep carrying it, or stop, unstrap the burden, and let the river carry away what's no longer needed. Peace is not a destination. Peace is a state of being you choose each day. It's when you learn to breathe deeply amid the storm. It's when you no longer need to prove anything to anyone. It's when you realize nothing is forcing you to hold on to your pain if you are ready to let go. It's time to lay down what no longer belongs to you, not because you're weak, but because you are strong enough to choose freedom. Not because you're giving up, but because you understand. No one finds peace through resistance. Only conscious surrender opens the real door. And when that door opens, you'll finally see what matters most: the daily practice of mindful living. Have you ever felt like you were living, but not truly alive? Each day rushes by. You wake up, swept into the current of work, responsibilities, and other people's expectations. You eat while already thinking about the next meeting. You talk while your mind drifts to what needs to be done after. You smile, but inside, you feel empty. We call it life, but in truth, it's only existence. Mindful living through the lens of Stoicism is not about slowing down. It's not about meditating all day in silence. It's about being deeply aware of each moment, each emotion, each choice you make in your ordinary life. Seneca once wrote, "While waiting to live, we waste our lives." You don't need to wait until everything is perfect to live fully. You just need to begin from this moment. Ask yourself today, am I living in alignment with my values? Am I truly present in this conversation? Am I eating to nourish my body or just to fill an empty moment? Am I facing my emotions or hiding from them through work, entertainment, or noise? To live mindfully is to bravely face your inner truth, to know when your awareness is slipping, to pause, to breathe, to observe, and to return to the depth of your being. I started with something very small. Each morning, I gave myself exactly 3 minutes to sit still, no phone, no music, no expectations, just stillness, listening to my breath, and asking one simple question: how do I truly want to live today? No complicated answers, just honesty, and the commitment to live by that, just for one day. Because, life itself is only ever a series of todays. Start with small actions. When walking, feel each step. When eating, savor each bite. When speaking, say what you truly mean. When angry, observe it as a wave and let it pass. When sad, allow yourself to feel it fully, then learn how to move forward. And each night, before you sleep, ask yourself just one question: did I truly live today? If the answer is yes, even for a single moment, then you are on the right path. If the answer is no, tomorrow is a new day to begin again, and it's not too late. Marcus Aurelius wrote, "Do not act as if you were going to live 10,000 years. Death hangs over you. While you live, while it is in your power, be good, because mindful living is not a technique, it is a choice. A way of life, a daily commitment. I will not lose myself in the crowd. I will not drift past my life like a stranger. I will live each day. Thank you for walking with me to the end of this journey." You don't need to remember every philosophy. Just remember this: peace, strength, and happiness, they are not out there. They begin within you, and it all begins with one mindful breath. If today is the day you choose to begin truly living, then welcome. This is not the end. It is the beginning of something new.